What's up? This is Matt Jalbert.
What's up? This is AC. What's going on? This is Isaac.
This is Charlie.
We are Tauk, and this is the new old school podcast.
All right, so here we are. We are with Tauk. That's how you say it, right? Tauk, Tauk?
Yeah.
All right, just making sure I was pronouncing that right. We have actually the entire band sitting in with us today. Matt, Charlie, Isaac, and is it Eric? Or AC?
Yeah, AC is cool.
All right, well, we'll use AC then.
AC normally is cool.
So you guys are in North Carolina right now. You guys are on your spring tour. You're playing with the Fritz, correct? How's that been going for you?
Well, this will be the first show of the tour with the Fritz, but we've done shows with those guys before. We actually did a run of shows with them a few years back, so it'd be good to get back together and join forces, and we're excited for that.
Awesome. Well, we know you just came through our neck of the woods this past week, Jacksonville, so we heard that was a very good show as well.
We would have been in attendance if it wasn't for a prior engagement.
Oh, good. Yeah, that was fun. It's been a minute since we've been to Florida and done some shows down there, so it was fun. People came out. It was good energy, good weather. We got some good food. It was a good night.
Spliffs next door is pretty nice, actually.
Yeah.
You guys played for an extended 5-hour set, is what we heard?
No?
No,
definitely not. I don't know. 5-hour set that doesn't sound right.
I was wondering how that would work out, but apparently that's kind of what we heard along the grapevine, so obviously it was a great show.
Someone must have been really deep in trance.
That could be it. So you guys, you said you haven't been to Florida in a little bit. I actually kind of found out about you guys. I make house music myself, but I played Aura in 2016 and just happened to catch you guys at Aura. So that's how I kind of found out about you at that little music festival.
Yeah, we love that festival. Too bad it's not around anymore.
Unfortunately, it is not. Yeah, you're correct. I think Okeechobee kind of killed it.
Yeah, more than kind of.
And there'll be another one that'll emerge from the dust.
Yeah, from the ashes.
But for anybody listening at the moment, how would you guys like to describe yourself?
Musically,
you heard a good one the other night, right, Isaac?
Renegades of Funk.
Renegades of Funk.
I like that. I'll take it.
it's kind of like a Rage Against the Machine kind of throwback to it as well.
Hold on 1 second.
No problem.
That's like Grindr hair.
The boys are Skyping in from their venue in North Carolina, so.
Yeah, so I mean, what we usually say is instrumental rock fusion. I feel like that kind of boils it down to its finest.
How did you guys become a just instrumental band? I know that you, at one point early in your careers, in the band's career, had a singer. Was it just like a conscious effort to just go without and just kind of like do the instrumental only situation, or how did that come about?
Yeah, years back we had a singer. Myself, Charlie, and AC, we grew up together, so we've been playing music for a long time. And at a certain point when we kind of parted ways with the singer, and sorry about that.
It's okay.
But we parted ways with the singer, and we kind of just still got together, and we're writing music and hanging out and playing music together. And through that process, just in getting together, we kind of discovered that we were kind of writing songs just instrumentally, and started just booking shows when we figured that we kind of just had material. It kind of just settled into that, and it kind of just naturally happened.
Was it something that you guys, like, do you pull influences from other instrumental bands, or is that just something that kind of just all came together in general as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely bands that I listen to that are instrumental. I know for myself, bands like Kneebody, or nowadays like Snarky Puppy, and tons of other stuff. Even just listening to electronic stuff like Aphex Twin, and for me, I definitely listen to plenty of music that doesn't have lyrics. I listen to plenty of music that does, but I don't think there's any limits to what you can do.
Yeah, I feel you on that. It's definitely a breath of fresh air to actually have, a decent band that pulls it off very well. And I think you guys are one of those bands that can pull it off very well.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Now, I have a question on the new album you guys have coming out. When is the official? Is it already launched, or is that in the soon here?
So we just released an EP at the beginning of this month, and then that's the first part of another full-length album that we're going to put out later this year.
Yeah, I noticed there was one that was accompanied with it.
Yep.
So
There's
you
two
figured
to follow.
got it. And on this one, you guys used a Robert Carranza.
Yep.
Is that right? For anybody that's listening, that producer has done a lot of different albums, a lot of different artists that I personally like. How is it working with him?
Yeah, Robert's been part of the whole just band operation for a while now. He's definitely seems like a fifth member of the band. He knows how we work and the right button to push, and he has just an amazing talent behind the board and amazing set of ears. So, and we get along real well. So it's we have a really good dynamic, and it's definitely beneficial to us every time we get some time to spend with him and work on some music.
Yeah, I'd figure some producers, they have a different approach. Obviously, there's a comfort zone with somebody Do you guys try to push the limit on each album differently?
Yeah, we never just want to recreate the same thing from album to album. So we're always pushing ourselves, and especially working with Robert, he's always pushing us in new directions too. It's definitely important for us to continue to grow and not just kind of settle into doing the same thing over and over again. I think for all of us, that would just make it boring, just playing it safe like that. So every time we go into the studio, specifically, we're always experimenting just from all angles of it, just the songwriting aspect to just using different sounds and different textures throughout the albums. This EP, we had some horn players on it, and we're always just trying different things because we want to try new things. We want to see what new territory we can push ourselves into.
You said you added horn players recently to a couple of your tunes that you were working on in the studio. How do you go about playing those live? Do you prefer having actual musicians that will come on stage with you and perform, or are those things that you can trigger via electronically off stage, or what do you normally do and what do you prefer?
We just kind of see it as a different version of the song. The song, when we did put horns on the songs, like there were songs before that we had played, so it's kind of just like an extra layer that we like that. And whenever we can have horn players that we get along with and we like, we'll have them on. This tour we happen to have a bunch of bands opening for us that had horn sections, so we did a bunch of collaborations here and there, and it's good. We definitely like having musicians sit in with us, and the horn section adds a whole new layer and sometimes makes songs a little more powerful.
Yeah, I agree. I think adding like saxophone, trumpet, or any kind of horn on top of some other stuff really gives it a groovier feel, especially for your style of music, more of like I air quote this, but like jam band, festival band kind of vibe. You guys really remind me of stuff kind of like my dad used to listen to, and I grew up listening to, like the Allman Brothers and stuff like that. Like all their live albums, it kind of just reminds, like all the jam parts just remind me of their jams that they used to go on. Did you guys also come from that era of listening to those types of bands and those live albums, and just does that play into your creative writing and all this stuff that you you do on with your albums and shows and stuff like that?
For sure. I mean, Allman Brothers specifically, like that was one of the first concerts that I ever went to.
Awesome.
When I was 12 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, for us, all music is like, we don't really discriminate too much against like our tastes, and we try to just bring it all into our own little soup that we're making, and we definitely like to improvise and live, and that's Allman Brothers definitely did a ton of that, and there's plenty of other bands out there that we see doing that as well. So it's just it's just something kind of naturally happens. It's just what we do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we definitely got mad love for the dad bands, Steely Dan.
I feel you on that one.
All that kind of the progressive rock 70s kind of style. I mean, that music is great. It has such great energy. So it's very infectious. So it's definitely has an influence where, we definitely nerd out. So much love to the dads out there, bro.
Yeah.
It's stood the test of time. So, I mean, a lot of those bands, they still do what they can. And I think it's a good...
We're still listening to them today, so yeah.
It's a good influence.
Go ahead, sorry.
There's endless... all that stuff, I can speak for myself personally. Growing up listening to, like the Fillmore album, Allman Brothers, and, listening to cool bands, even like, some of that live Zappa stuff. You listen to some of these bands, and it runs the gamut. You have like the bands that are jam bands, like the godfathers of the jam bands, like the Grateful Dead, and they had a certain approach playing live and just really, really going for it. And you have some bands that are more structured in how they extend their songs, like a Zappa kind of thing, but just being influenced by all that stuff, even listening to some Hendrix stuff, like Band of Gypsies, like a lot of those songs have really long improvisations, and everyone's got a different approach. So just growing up and feeding off that and just kind of taking note of all the different directions that you can do, in a live setting. All of that kind of plays into how we want to shape our sets and how we want to shape our shows. There's so many influences out there that I grew up on, and there's always just that bank to go back to and refer to, get inspired by.
Right. How much of the live set do you guys do improv, and how does how playing improv, how does that affect how you play songs going forward? Like, say you record your songs one way on the album, but after a few weeks on the road of playing those songs, and you're being creative and you're doing solos and doing going other directions, does that ever play into like how you play the songs later on those tours, or like live in general, or how does that work in the structuring?
Well, songs, the more and more we play them, they get different reactions from crowd, different reactions from us. I think that both those things come into play the more and more we play our songs, especially newer ones, because we like to road test them and just get a feel for what they would feel like on stage and at the show performance. But I think they grow and they become their own thing. The more and more we play them, it's almost like a different interpretation of it every time we play it.
Yeah, I was wondered because you guys would probably have more flexibility just in the style of, music that you're playing to go in different avenues, and how you record a song one way for, your CD or your album, and then how you end up playing it for the next couple months, years going down the road. It's interesting how that, takes shape and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. When we, some songs, going into the studio are songs that we've played live before, and some songs are kind of written there in the studio. I think especially for those songs, the ones that haven't been played live yet when we're recording them, once we do take them on the road, you really never know what's going to happen. There are certain songs where we recorded them in the studio and then we start playing them live, and we might add totally different sections to the song than were on the recorded version. Just something that felt right in the moment, one show or something, or we're playing it live and we're like, this worked on the album, but it doesn't really work live exactly. So what other approach can we take to the song? So just getting out there and being in front of a crowd and having it in that live setting can really shape what the song is over time.
You guys sound like you need to do the Kanye West method of just having like an organic album. You release the album, but you can change it however you want to, you know, like later on down the line. That seems kind of like what you guys should do.
I'll take it.
We can all learn from Kanye.
That's for sure.
The good and the bad.
No, but that's one of the
Yes.
cool things about being instrumental, is that there's a certain you can maneuver around your songs, and you can add to it, you know, via horns and other things. Like we've done shows with DJs before, and vocalists. So it can always, while maintaining your identity, who you are at the core, you can always change and shift and add. So it gives a different perspective, which changes songs completely, and it changes improvisation completely when we do it live. So it's, to me, it's one of the benefits of being in the position that we're in, because we have so much flexibility.
No, I agree with that. I think your studio album lays more of the groundwork for your instruments, and then whatever you feel during the performance really molds the rest of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we still have forms that we stick to in our song. You know, when we're writing and bringing an idea in, you know, we'll be like, oh, well, this is the verse and this is the chorus. I mean, obviously there's no lyrics, but we still try to write with an idea of a theme, something that threads the music together, that threads the ideas together, and kind of takes you on a journey through a soundscape, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever decided to maybe feature or want to work with a specific artist to have a little bit of lyrical content on maybe one of the tracks?
Yeah, well, it's something we've talked about. Those things get tricky when you actually, you know, we're busy a lot of times in the year, so
You guys are grinding.
to get in the studio with someone and make things happen is still, we haven't quite solidified those things yet. But, you know, it's something we've talked about, and one day we'll see what happens.
Is there anyone in particular that you really have in mind or would
Vocally
love to work
speaking?
with? Yeah. Or even like a lyricist or
Sure.
whatever.
To hit us up.
Yeah, tell Kendrick to hit us up.
Kendrick, yeah. I think everyone, his list is pretty long. Is there anyone musically that you haven't already kind of collabed with that you would, you know, like to feature on the album, whether it's a, you know, instrument player or maybe a percussionist or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people out there that we respect. You know, even just, especially when you get going on the festival circuit, once those kick up in the summer again, you start crossing paths with artists, and you get to see what they do live. You know, I know for all of us, we all listen to a bunch of different stuff. For me, like, there's a lot of great guitar players out there these days. You know, like Mark Lettieri plays with Snarky Puppy. Marcus King is a badass guitar player. There's, you know, for me, it's exciting just being in this world and crossing paths with some of these people. And, you know, when you can make things happen, whether it's a sit-in or whether it's something you do in the studio, I think we always try to take advantage of it. You know, there's just a lot of good stuff going on right now these days.
Mm-hmm. I want to kind of break down the songwriting like process for you guys. You said that some of them, you know, you jam in person. Some of them are written in the studio specifically. How do you guys approach just writing new material in general? Is there one person that kind of leads the way, or do you all kind of collectively come together with ideas and, you know, pick and choose from each other's like pool of ideas and then go that route? Or is there one person just kind of like, you know, guiding the sail?
Everyone contributes. We kind of run the gamut from, like, some songs will be something where one of us will just compose all the parts at home or on the road or wherever we are, you know, whatever, on their computer using like notation software or whatever, and just send the parts out to everybody, and there's a full song beginning to end with all the sections. And there's songs that are like that. There's songs that are written just when we're getting together for rehearsals and we're just messing around and you know, just having fun and letting loose in the studio or whatever, we'll come across a groove or an idea, and that might blossom into a song. And then even combinations where someone writes something at home and brings it in and maybe combines it with someone else's idea that they've been sitting on for a couple of years or whatever. So there's really no rules, which kind of makes it exciting too. You never know like where the next song is going to come from. So everyone pitches in, and then once it's brought in and we start playing ideas together live, things take on a shape of their own, and we kind of we're kind of getting better, all the time at like workshopping ideas and really honing them in and creating structure out of them.
Well, you guys have been a group for, at least the core guys have been a group for what, like 7 years at this particular point. And you said you all grew up together playing music. So I would assume that you guys' process and just feeling each other out and vibing with each other is pretty on point at this particular point.
Yeah, most of the stuff feels pretty natural. It's it really is just a matter of doing it when it comes down to it. Just making sure we're conscious of taking that time when we do have the time of, playing through some ideas and then listening back and seeing what works and doesn't work. And we definitely have sort of a loose process of what we know works when the time comes to it, and we know we have a song that needs to be put together. Just playing through the parts, seeing which parts work together, what the structure is, and, just listening back together and talking about what the form of the song should be. I think we've gotten pretty good at that, and recognizing, where to go with certain ideas.
You said you guys, I caught you at the festival, Aura Festival. You guys are pretty heavy on the circuit, I would assume, for most kind of like jam band festivals, and I've seen you play like regular festivals as well. Do you guys prefer the festival circuit, or do you guys like the intimate venue kind of show?
They're both good. There's positives to each. The festival circuit is nice to be outside. It's nice to get some sun, soak up some vitamin D. In the wintertime, you're in the club all the time, and sometimes, you're pushing in at, like, for example, today we started at 2 to start loading in all our gear, and then we don't get out the venue until maybe 3, and then you hit the road at 4 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're sleeping on the road, so you don't really get too much time to go outside. So it's really nice for the festival season, and there's a lot more people, and people are happy. They're good. They feel good to camp and have fun. So it's a really good dynamic. And there's other bands too that are there who are your peers, and it's great to link up and see different people on the road. And it's a good atmosphere for the festivals. But the clubs are nice because you're playing to your specific fans, people who specifically want to see you, who want to hear you rock out for 2 sets. And you get to see how happy people are, and basically you have merchandise and all the things that people get into buy the whole experience, and you get to share and make eye contact with people, and it's that's something unique. So it's been really great to be able to do both on this tour that we've been on right now. We were just at Sweetwater 420 in Atlanta. That was awesome. And then we did another one in Safety Harbor called Bring Clothing, back to back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now we're back in clubs this week. And then we're going to head up to 930 Club in D.C. in a few days. That's an amazing venue. So I wouldn't say that we prefer one over the other, but they each has benefits and has awesome parts about it.
So you guys have played like Bonnaroo and other big, huge festivals as well. How does your song selection for like different festivals and club shows differ? Whereas, because it seems to be the running theme where people like to experiment a little more maybe at the festivals because they are playing to a broader audience rather than, like you said, when you're at a club and they're specifically there for you, you can play pretty much anything because for the most part that crowd will like any and everything. So how does that play on your song selection per set, or do you have it already set before you leave the road for like this tour, or is it just random every night? Or
we try to change it up every night. it really depends on the situation. If we're playing during the day at a festival, that will definitely affect what songs we're playing. And really what the demographic of the festival is. If we're playing an EDM festival that has a lot of DJs, that will definitely cater to that and use some of our more like electronic kind of sounding songs and maybe improvise in that realm a little more. But then at nighttime, it's you can get a little weirder. People are usually a little more intoxicated. And then the club shows, it's anything goes for us. We have a lot of time to just jam out, and there's not a lot of time constraint on us, so we can really go into different places and not be like confined to an hour-long set like we are at a festival. We're playing for 2.5 to 3 hours sometimes. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed. Based on your catalog, not everything sounds the same. So anybody that is listening, it's they're gonna get something new a lot of the times. That makes a lot of sense for you guys to do it based on demographic or even the vibe at the moment.
Type of show, yeah. It's great that you have the selection also in your discography to play different festivals, whether it be an electronic festival, regular all brand festival like Bonnaroo or whatnot, and then you can also do like the jam band, like you played with the Allman Brothers Festival. So I mean, you fit into those three categories fairly well with your kind of discographies. That's kind of eclectically cool, I guess.
Yeah, it's good it helps us keep flexible and broaden our appeal. What's cool about the club shows too is that your fans will let you know. They'll let you know if you're repeating stuff, and they'll let you know when you do things well, and that's a cool aspect as well to keep us on their toes, because you don't want to give them people who are like really, really supporting you. You want to give them the best experience possible.
Correct.
So it's nice to stay sharp.
Whenever people have suggestions, do they get aggressive about it?
It depends on the person.
How much they had to drink and whatnot, maybe?
I think alcohol usually has a huge factor to do with what people find is appropriate at shows.
You didn't play my
some
favorite
people
song.
often forget that you're not supposed to come on the stage during the show.
A lot of people get in the moment, man.
More stage dives.
It's usually positive though, but some people you got to give the stiff arm. Back up one time.
You never know. You never know what you're dealing with out there nowadays.
Gotta be careful.
A lot of close talkers out there.
Oh yeah, especially I find that drunk people are definitely the close talker.
But yeah.
That beer breath is strong.
I stopped drinking for like a year, and I just found that when I wasn't intoxicated, everyone that was intoxicated was overly annoying, and you know what I mean? It's just one of those things I had to deal with. But
hey, it's good to have perspective.
yeah, no, you gotta go to the other side every now and then. But
Yeah.
So what are your favorite things that you're looking forward to this year? I know you've been on the road for some time. Have you already, done something you've been looking forward to, or what are you looking forward to the most out of this year?
Yeah, we've had so far we've had a really good tour. It's been a lot of fun. We've had some really fun stops. Played with a lot of cool bands. And we got one more week before we get home. We definitely got some big ones we're looking forward to. We're headlining the 930 Club on May 4th, which is going to be great for us because we've played that venue a bunch of times now in D.C., and it's one of our favorite spots, and this will be the first time that we're headlining it. So that's definitely kind of like a bit of a milestone for us. And then, all the rest of the shows this week are going to be great, and then we have a little time off when we get home, and then we have 2 nights at Brooklyn Bowl later in May, which, it's hometown shows, so those are always extra special for us. And we have a couple of the horn players from Snarky Puppy and Nate Worth, the percussion player who plays with them, and also Ghost Note are going to be doing some of those shows with us at the Brooklyn Bowl, so that's going to be a lot of fun just to change up, add some new textures and some killer players to those shows. A bunch of cool festivals. We're hitting Red Rocks again later this year, which will be, that's always really special playing that venue. So just this year alone, we have a lot more to look forward to.
Yeah, I saw that you had Red Rocks on your schedule here, as well as Camp Bisco and some other festivals this summer, Boston Calling and everything. You mentioned Hometown Turf, Brooklyn Bowl, Brooklyn, New York. You guys are from Brooklyn. Is there any kind of like, because you guys have known each other, most of you have known each other for a long time, and you grew up playing music. Did you guys meet at a just like on the street, in the neighborhood, at a music school, at a high school? I mean, how did it all coalesce together that you guys all just started making music together?
Well, myself, Charlie, and AC, we grew up. We've known each other since like middle school. We all went to school together, so that's how that started. You know, hanging out in each other's houses, in my basement, playing music. You know, even just taking lunch breaks and going down to, there was like a little room at our school that had like a drum set and some amps set up, and we were just, any free time we had during the day at school, we would just go down there and play music together. So that's just been a lifelong thing. We're doing the same thing we were doing when we were freaking 15 years old. Not much has changed.
But no one's like.
Then Charlie met Isaac when he was going to school. Charlie went to NYU and met Isaac while he was going to school there. And myself and AC, we met Isaac, through Charlie, and we had all become pretty good friends. And then we were looking for a drummer, and Isaac came in. I know we got a recording probably of like the first time we all got into the rehearsal space and played music together. That was a lot of fun. And so that was kind of when things got solidified.
And as far as like your training or everyone's training in music, was it just something you guys picked up, or were there lessons involved? Did you go to school for it?
Man, I had to do lessons every Sunday. It was mandatory.
So it's a household thing?
Yeah, my mom taught me piano for a while, probably until around high school. And she was a classically trained pianist, or is a classically trained pianist. And it was just, music was a thing, just in my family for a while. So it was just something that I had to do. So while all the kids were out playing basketball on Sunday and Killerman and football, I was practicing scales and learning Beethoven and stuff.
Well, I have to give your mom kudos for that, for making you at least learn piano. I wish someone had made me learn piano earlier on. It's one of the things I want to learn going forward in life, but I am very envious of people who can play piano.
Yeah, shout out to Mom for sitting my ass down and making me do something.
And now look at you. You're using it to do what you like in life, and hopefully make a decent living off of it in the years to come as well. So got to give her props for that.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's all jokes aside, it's been really a blessing to be able to share music the way that all of us do. So and be in this community. But yeah, I know that a couple of us, pretty much everyone went to school. I went to Northeastern. I did music history and analysis up there. I know Matt was up at UVM and did performance. Charlie at NYU, and he did music tech. And Isaac was at the Drummers Collective. And pretty much, we've all grown up with music in our lives, pretty much on a daily level.
Cool.
Yeah, this is the only thing we know how to do.
So that kind of leads me to another question. This is the only thing you guys really like to do. So what are some things that you've had to do, whether they're like jobs that you really didn't like? What are some odd, weird jobs that you had to do to kind of like keep the dream alive?
I had to caddy for a little bit.
Like a golf caddy?
Yeah, I didn't really like that. I'm not really good with people talking to me in weird ways.
How good were your skills at like navigating the golf course, or
I was all right. It was okay. I only took it to the driving range. I never really got to the full back nine, but
interesting. So, are there a lot of bands like? It seems like New York is a very, big pot of melting music, everything.
Humanity.
Yeah. So, like, explain how one just kind of stands out in New York with with 15 other million people there, and half of them are doing something in the entertainment business.
I think us being from New York, I mean, there's so much going on there all the time. We can only really play there a handful of times a year, as much as we love doing it. I think just living there and being in the city and being surrounded by all that's going on musically, culturally, everything, you know, you're constantly exposed to so much different, just everything, you know, and it's just, it's inspiring to be in that environment. And just knowing that on a daily basis, on a nightly basis, you can go experience or see something, you know, that's going to alter your perspective a little bit. So it's definitely, I love living there and calling it home, and trying to take full advantage of being around, you know, all of it.
I do think that I always said as a kid or as a younger person, when I traveled to New York for the first time, I kind of had the assumption that the kids that grow up in New York have like a somewhat of a leg up on the rest of the world, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, being around, you know, musicians in New York and stuff, there's definitely, people definitely have to stand out. So there's definitely a certain, you got to know what you're doing and you got to act like it a little bit. So, and I think that that's kind of a valuable lesson, you know, it's like, when you go and see the people in New York who are really standing out and who are the killing musicians and everything, they kind of, they handle themselves a certain way. You know, there's a lot of competition, but it's kind of in a positive way. So, you know, there's, as good as you might think that you are, you kind of always know that there's someone out there who's right behind you, or there's 10 guys who are ahead of you. Right, so it kind of keeps everyone pushing in the right direction.
Yeah, there's a rapid, how do you put this? There's street knowledge that comes along really quickly in New York that you, even as a youngster in any kind of realm, whether it be, you know, music or acting or whatever you're trying to do, if you're doing it in New York, there's a certain exposure that you get when you're a youngster that most people might not. And it, you know, it allows you to get on your hustle earlier, or, you know, depending on what you're seeking. Right. It allows you to get there and to really experience the hustle and bustle of it. And that's what New York is, you know. And a lot of people come there and try to, you know, acclimate their lives to that, but it takes them a good year, you know. So if you're born in it, you already know what it is.
Yeah, it's like it is very dog eat dog. I would feel like up there on a daily basis, just in any avenue, whether it's like a band trying to get, you know, recognized, someone trying to even find a part-time job, or, you know, anything. So I do feel like, you know, growing up in that does make you, like I said, a leg up on the competition.
People are definitely hungry, and you learn that quick. Growing up on Long Island, there weren't too many venues to play, and there's not like a jam scene or too many other genre scenes out on Long Island. So you had to go to the city. So growing up in high school, we were playing New York City. All of us were playing New York City by 16. And you're competing with, you know, grown adults and people who have been doing it. So you have to figure out a way to command respect. And, you know, a way to, I guess, nowadays get people off their phone, you know, so.
Yeah. A lot of phones. Yeah. We just saw the Foo Fighters yesterday at that, Sunday, there was a Rockville was in town the same weekend you guys were in town. And once the Foo Fighters hit the stage, I think I saw like everyone in front of me just have their phone up. You know, it's a crazy situation now.
That's funny.
So I got a couple like just real quick questions before we wrap everything up. You know, it's easy, kind of like, I don't want to say lightning round type stuff, but it's kind of like that. What are you guys listening to like right now? What's really got your attention for this tour or this month or whatever?
A few weeks ago, we were listening to this band called Dynamo. They opened for us a few times on the tour, but they're an amazing band. Definitely would check those guys out. I think that was followed by some Jamiroquai.
Yeah, Jamiroquai. We're listening to Taylor McFerrin. I think I'm pretty sure it's by McFerrin's son. Been listening to a lot of Robert Glasper lately.
Chris Dave and Drumheads.
Some Nora Jones.
Some After One, always.
Nora.
So good.
You know, she gets the vibe right.
Shout out to Nora Jones.
Never bad.
With us. If you guys know her, send her our way.
Oh, I mean,
please.
if you know her, send her our way. I mean, she's not a bad looking.
I'll text her later.
Yeah.
Hit me up on Instagram, Nora.
Speaking of people who we may or may not know, you guys are from the New York area. One of my favorite bands of all time is also from the New York area, and they're one of the weirdest kind of cult bands I've ever been a part. I've been a fan of. Not a part of, but are you guys familiar with Glassjaw by chance?
Yeah.
Okay. Just I don't.
Well, that's one thing too. Is Glassjaw's a little bit more on the punk side, right?
They're all over the place, I think, nowadays. But yeah, definitely they were more punkish, hardcore, and I guess they kind of like the Deftones did. They've altered their sound over the course of their careers. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's one of the things about Long Island actually. Like I think Taking Back Sunday, Brand New. The punk scene is actually, or I guess punk hardcore, is kind of thrives on Long Island.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's either that or you're in a cover band. There's so many Billy Joel cover bands, man. You don't believe it. It's just crazy.
The Sleeping is from there as well, I believe.
The Sleeping Night Verses and whatnot. Yep. Snapcase or whatever they were. Sky Came Falling.
Yep.
All right. Well, we got what was your favorite venue you've played thus far? Venue/show that you've played thus far in the last couple of years, and on the other side of that, what would be the worst?
It's a trap.
Oh, man. Well, Red Rocks is hard to beat in terms of favorites.
I can imagine that.
Yeah. That's kind of an easy go-to.
I haven't been there yet, but I could only imagine.
Yeah.
It's on the list.
I'd say the worst probably, we'll never play there again, so I don't really care about having the place. It's probably in Valdosta, Georgia, when we showed up and the promoter told us he didn't promote, but that the bartender had died the week before, and that everyone was coming over for the show after the funeral. So we basically played a funeral after party.
That is a strange situation.
It was awful.
I mean, it's saddening.
Got away with, everyone was crying and telling us to play Journey songs.
Yeah, it's his favorite band. So they're actually
Journey. And then the PA pretty much exploded in the middle of the set, and we just stopped playing and left.
Yeah, I think you got to cut your losses sometime and just kind of move
it was
on.
called Lucky's. That was the name of the venue.
Bucky's?
It was called Lucky's.
Lucky's. Oh, I was gonna say if you had said Wild Adventures, I'd have kind of lost my mind. That's like the only thing in Valdosta I could think of, the little theme park there. They do have bands every now and then.
It was a weird day. Normally don't like answering that question, but I'm completely fine with that.
So if you have a funeral, you need a band to play. Tauk is your go-to, it seems, right?
Yes, sir. We wear all white.
We have experience.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So Shapeshifter just came out, and that's an EP, 5 songs. When is the LP coming out?
The LP should be coming out. We're aiming for late September, early October.
All right.
And it's been good. Really excited to put that out. This year we try to be as busy as we can, and make as big of a statement as we can, and just keep having fun. And we're gonna have some. Pretty sure we're gonna put some horns on that record too. We're working with the Naughty Professor horns out of Louisiana, who play with a band called Naughty Professor.
Yeah,
these guys are really great, really pro, and came up with the parts on their own. And yeah, we decided to have them on the record as well, just because of what they did was so solid. So we're looking forward to that, and some other potential collaborations that we will let everybody know when the time is right.
Will it feature any of the songs that you currently released, or is it just going to be all new material as well?
It'll be none of the same songs from the EP. There might be a couple songs that we've played live, but there's definitely going to be a good majority of just completely fresh new material.
Awesome. All right. Well, there was something, but I went blank on it because we got caught up in a different conversation. But I know you guys have a show coming up, and you guys are at the venue, and you probably want to do your own thing. So we'll kind of cut you loose here. We want to say thank you, and we appreciate you guys being flexible with us and joining us today on the podcast. if you guys want to shout out your anything, your socials, your website, and all that stuff, feel free to go ahead and do that now. We'll also link them in all of our descriptions. So if they want to, where can they find more information on Tauk?
Yeah, everything Tauk Bands, TAUK band.com, Instagram /Tauk Band, Facebook Tauk Band, Twitter Tauk Band. Yeah, that's what you'll find all our stuff. And we're up on like Spotify and iTunes and all that good stuff.
Nugs.net as well.
Yeah, we're easy to find.
Thank you again, and good luck with everything, man.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Have a good one.